Hello, dear students. In this series of lectures of bunkers and silos, today I am going to discuss the design of the bunkers. For the differences between the bunkers and silos, I have earlier discussed also. Today again, I am going to discuss the differences. A combination of bunkers and silos both are called as a bin. The plane of rupture is one of the difference which differentiates between the two. If the plane of the rupture falls in the topmost roof slab of the structure, then it is identified as a bunker. And if the plane of the rupture falls on the opposite side of the walls, it is denoted as a deep bin and is called as a silo. Also, the length, the height, and the we can say width ratio is also another point to differentiate between the bunker and the silos. If the height to depth ratio, height to width ratio is more than 2, approximately 2, if it is more, it is known as a silos, and if it is less than that, it is called as a bunker. So in this series of lecture today itself, we are going to discuss the design of the bunkers. Let's see what is the component parts of a bunker. We have the cylindrical portion at the top. This is the main area where the portion is going to come. And then we have the hopper bottom. Then there is an opening at the bottom of that. The whole structure is supported by the columns. Then at the top, for if there is an angle of repose of the material, then alpha is the surcharge, which is approximately taken as the angle of repose. There are two beams, one at the top and one at the other at the junction. This is known as the top rib beams. This is the junction beams. So these are the component parts. We are going to discuss the design of the bunkers. In the bunkers, because of the shallow depth, it is assumed that the friction between the wall and the infill is negligible. So another difference between the two, the bunkers and the silos, is that the major load of the material is taken up by the bottom of the hopper bottom, and whereas in the silos, the main portion of the load is taken by the friction between the wall and the material. So then to design the walls, the pressure and the moments on the walls. So let alpha be the angle of the surcharge of the fill. The pressure against the vertical wall, here Rankines theory comes into picture, Rankines formula. So here the pressure is given by P is equal to WH cos alpha minus under this root of cos square alpha minus cos square phi divided by cos alpha plus cos alpha under the root of cos square alpha minus cos square phi, where alpha is the angle of surcharge and phi is the angle of the repose. The pressure acts in a direction parallel to the top surface of the retained material, and the horizontal component is given as pH. So pH is equals to P cos alpha, and when you substitute the value of P in it, so this becomes WH cos square alpha. Rest values remain the same. Now, if generally we take the angle of surcharge to be the angle of repose, as it cannot be greater than that, so maximum value has been taken. When you substitute alpha as phi in this equation, so it reduces to the horizontal pressure intensity as WH cos square alpha. So this basic component is to be used while calculating the horizontal intensity of the horizontal pressure. If alpha is equals to 0 at the top of the surface, that is horizontal, then pH is given by WH 1 minus sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. The edge conditions are such that the top is free and the bottom as well as the vertical edges are restrained due to the continuity. For this case, the moment due to the triangularly distributed lateral pressure may be computed with the help of the table, that is the water retaining structures, IS 3370 part 4. A simpler approach is to assume that the lateral pressure is taken entirely in the horizontal direction, and for that we have this is reasonably true if the height of the wall is large compared to its length. So in that case, for a square bunker, the bending moment and any depth is negative moment is taken at the you can say at the corners, and that is WH L square by 12. So W is the load here and the load is the horizontal pressure. So it is PH L square by 12. And similarly at the midspan it is PH L square by 24, or simply WL square by 8 minus WL square by 12, which gives us WL square by 24, that is PH L square by 24. So this is the positive moment, where L is the span between the center lines of the supporting walls. Generally haunches are provided at the corners due to which negative moments are much lesser than pH L square by 12, and the design is made for a uniform value of pH L square by 16 to be for economical section. Then this is for the square bunker. If it is a rectangular bunker, so if the rectangular bunker has the dimensions as B as the width and the L as the length, for A, B, C, D as the section, then the corner moments M, A, B, C, D are given as minus W pH by 12 B square minus BL plus L square, and similarly the positive moments are then WL square by 8 minus this moment, that is pH by 12 B square minus BL by L square. So this gives me pH by 24 B square plus 2BL minus 2L square. This is the positive moment. In addition to the bending moment, the walls are also subjected to the direct tension due to the pressure on the adjoining walls. So the adjoining walls are going to apply the this direct pressure on the adjoining walls. Thus direct tension on wall L will be 0.5 pH into B, and then on the wall B will be 0.5 pH L. Apart from the bending moment and direct tension, the walls are also subjected to vertical height of the material transfer to it by the hopper bottom. The vertical wall is therefore designed as a deep beam supported between the columns. Circular bunkers. The vertical walls of the circular bunkers of a diameter B is designed for a hoop tension of pH B by 2. Then there is another component, that is the hopper bottom. If it is a conical hopper bottom, then the conical hoppers are subjected essentially to two forces. One is the meridional and the other one is the hoop tension. The total meridional tension at any horizontal plane passing through the hopper is such that its vertical component is equal to the total vertical pressure on the plane plus the weight of the hopper and the contents below the plane. So an appropriate plane has to be selected. Let's say when you see a hopper over here, this is a hopper bottom. So hopper bottom has its diameter at the top as the maximum, and its diameter is minimum at the bottom. So but you see that the pressure at the top is the pressure at the bottom, that is BC section, is much more than the pressure at this place. So an average plane has to be taken, and then the plane AD has been selected for such a cause. So let WG and WC be the weight of the grain and the WC weight of the cone below this plane. So the plane is AD. The meridional tension N is given by, so the meridional tension is over here which is acting in this plane. So it is given by N sine alpha, that is alpha is the angle with the hopper bottom at the base. So it is N sine alpha into 2 pi B. 2 pi B is the perimeter of the at this plane AD, is equal to the weight acting. So its weight is Wg plus Wc, and Pv is the vertical force, vertical pressure which is being exerted on this plane in this cross sectional area, that is pi into d squares. So when you calculate, when simplify this, we get N, that is the meridional tension N is given by Pv pi by square plus Wg plus Wc by 2 pi by sine alpha. Let pH be the normal pressure. If the Ws is the self weight of the cone per unit area, then you can see this, we can go for this figure. Ws is the weight acting downwards as the self weight of the cone, and then we have pH in the horizontal direction and Pv in the vertical direction, acting for EF and FG plane simultaneously. So we need to draw out a component in the direction of Pn, that is the normal force. So that normal force is given by, so Pn is going to act on the plane EG is equal to the component of PV in the direction of Pn plus a component of pH acting in the direction of Pn again, plus the component of Ws in the direction of Pn. So that has been drawn over here. So you can see, so Pn for the surface Eg is equals to Pv. Now this will draw out a component as alpha. So in this case it will be cos alpha. So it is Pv into EF into cos alpha. Similarly for pH it is Fg, and this component is acting over here, alpha will be there. So this is again going to give me this vertical component, normal component as sin alpha. So pH into Fg sin alpha. Then this is again going, Ws is going to give me a component of with alpha in the normal direction as cos alpha. So it is Eg again, this is acting at Eg, so it is Ws Eg cos alpha. You substitute the values of all these, so we get the values of Pn. When you divide this EF by Eg, so you get that as cos alpha. This gives me sin alpha. So this equation reduces to Pn is equals to Pv cos square alpha plus pH sin square alpha plus Ws cos alpha. Getting the normal force, the normal pressure and density, we can find out the hoop tension. The ring tension that is given by any plane at any plane is supported by the radius of curvature, that is Rn. So you see that radius of curvature from O to A, it is Rn, and when you multiply it by the normal force, you get the this ring tension. So for ring tension, we can design the steel, which is equals to B cosecant alpha. So for deep bins, PV and pH are obtained from the expressions developed earlier. However, the value of mu dash will be taken according equal to mu in the equation for horizontal pressure. For shallow bins, PV on any horizontal cross-section will be equal to the weight of the material above the section, and pH will be given by the equations we have derived earlier also. So this is the way we can find out the PV and pH value. Then for the meridional tension is supported by the walls of the walls which are directly going to come on this hopper bottom. So that comes in the formation of, if W is the weight of the weight mentioned above per unit length, the maximum meridional tension at A per unit length will be given by N is equals to W cosecant alpha. So this direct tension will gradually decrease to 0 at the opening B. So this is depending upon alpha. So it is decreasing to 0. So this will help to draw out the reinforcement. The hopper bottom is also subjected to bending moment due to bending of the slab spanning horizontally between the intersection of adjacent sloping faces. For example, if we consider unit length of the slab between the levels XX and YY, which you can see over here, the span of the slab AB will be L, and it will be subjected to a normal load density Pn, where Pn is given by the equation we have tried earlier. So Pn is equals to PV cos square alpha plus PH sin square alpha plus Ws cos alpha. So using that, we can find out the magnitudes of the moments also. So this gives me negative and positive moments. The magnitude of negative moments may be taken as P n L square by 12, and the positive moments as equal to P n L square by 12. The reinforcement will be placed at the outer face for the positive moments and inside for the negative moments. So we will see in the questions how we can find out these moments. So let us start with the question. So we have to design a bunker to store a 300 kilonewton of coal for the following data. The unit weight of coal is 8340 Newton per meter cube. Angle of repose is 30 degrees. The stored coal is to be surcharged at its angle of repose. So that means alpha is equals to 5. Take permissible stresses in steel as 140 Newton per meter mm square. So when you first step is, now we need to identify these dimensions. To identify these dimensions, we need to find out the volume of the required as for the 300 volume of the structure required for 300 kilonewton of coal. So when you see that volume required is 300 into 1000 by 8340, this gives me 35.97 meter cube. So fixing two of the components here, let us provide a square bunker of 3 by 3. A square bunker has been taken up, and the hopper portion have a height of 1.25 meters with a central hole of size 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. So this is again a square opening. So when you see look at these values, 30 degrees given as the angle of repose, so I can get this value also as 0.87, as this is 3 meters, so this gives me 0.87. So this value at this height comes out to 0.87 for this as 3 meters, for angle of repose as 30 degree. So we can fix the height of the cylinder portion also. So you can so ultimately the volume occupied by the material for this let's say second portion, first portion, second portion and third portion, this should be equal to 35.97 meter cube. In this question, the things are fixed as, so height is fixed as 3.25, 1.25 as the hopper bottom, height of hopper bottom, and this is 3 meters. So this makes it to a volume of 36.34 meter cube, and which gives me a storing capacity of 303 kilonewton of coal. So these dimensions will vary depending upon the volume required, and we can store you can say we can have the values more than the even the required also. So that will give me a factor of safety for the other case. Okay, then for the design of the side walls, first is the design of the walls. The side walls will be designed as a continuous slab, since the angle of surcharge is equal to the angle of repose. So in that case, your horizontal pressure is given by pH is equals to WH cos square phi. So at this depth, we can calculate the value of the horizontal pressure. So at the depth of the walls, the pressure comes out to be 20329 Newton per meter square. So using M15 concrete, we can find out the design constants. So if M is 19, you can find out the K value, that is M sigma Cb by M sigma C plus sigma St. When you substitute K, comes out to be 0.404. Similarly, J is 1 minus K by 3. You can substitute K as 0.404. This comes out to be 0.865, and R can be calculated. So R is equals to half into 6 into J into K. So this gives me 0.875 value when you substitute the values. Thickness of the wall can be assumed as 180 mm. Code says the minimum thickness should be 150 mm, so greater than can be assumed. Let's say we can even take 150 and we can finalize the design. So here in the question it has been taken as 180 mm. So effective span of the slab comes out to be, L was 3 meters, so 3 plus 3 plus d by 2 plus d by 2, that gives me 3.18 meters. So then hence the bending moment at the corners can be calculated, which is given by Pn square L square by 12. So this gives me a moment of 17131 Newton meter at the corners. So we will utilize this figure also. Let's see. The direct tension in the wall then comes out to be, so we have direct tension also, that comes out to be WL by 2. So W in this case, pressure intensity, horizontal pressure, we have calculated as 20329 in the at the base of the cylinder wall, 20329. So this is used over here to calculate the direct tension as 32323 newtons. So let the cover to the center of the steel be 30 mm. We have provided the cover. I will show you this. So this is the cover, this is the steel provided, and this is the center of here. So we have provided 170 mm thick wall. So when you see this is the 85 mm is the central position, this 30 mm is the cover. So we have an eccentricity of 55. So 55 is the lever arm to calculate the bending moment. So net bending moment will come out in the picture as, so 17131 was the earlier bending moment, which was at the square, minus the force into this lever arm. So this gives me a net bending moment of 15353 Newton meter at the corners. So for this I will decide the steel and I will check my depth. So when you check the effective depth, so this gives me, that is M is equals to RBD square. From there we come out with the depth requirement as 133 mm, and you have provided the effective depth as 170 minus 130 as 140 mm. So it is sufficient. You have provided the effective depth as 140 mm. So this is sufficient. Then for this, the total thickness varies from 120. Now the thickness can be varied, or you can keep the uniform thickness. So here the thickness has been varied, so it varies from 120 mm to 170 mm at the bottom. The thickness required is 120 mm the top. So area of the steel can be calculated. This gives me M by sigma St JD. So this gives me the stress due to the steel from the moment, and this is due to the direct tension. So this total steel comes out to be 1136 mm square. Use 12 mm dia bars and the spacing can be calculated. Spacing comes out to be 99.5 mm, and lesser than value taken can be taken off. So provide 12 mm dia bars at the rate 95 mm center to center at the corners. At the inner face, half of these bars can be curtailed, so half steel can be curtailed. Steel required at the center, so steel required at the center will be the bending moment at the center of the span. So at the center of the span, the bending moment can be calculated with the that is WL square by 24, and using the net bending moment, I get the net bending moment as 6788 Newton meters. So using that, again I can calculate the steel using the M by sigma St JD formula plus the direct steel. So this gives me steel as 631 mm square. Using again 12 mm dia bars, I can calculate the steel. So this gives me 179, and you can provide lesser values, that is 175 mm center at the outer face. So this steel can be seen over here. This is the reinforcement diagram into picture. So for the first case, when you have decided, so the steel was 12 mm at the rate 95 mm center to center in the inner face, and the outer face the steel was 12 mm at the rate 175 mm center to center. So this steel comes into picture like this. So either you can provide the uniform steel throughout the section, or it can be varied. So now in this case, the thickness required at the top is less. So according to the thickness, the steel has to be, the steel requirement is less. So it has been provided as 12 mm at the rate 135 mm center to center for the inner face, and it is reduced to 12 mm dia bars at the rate 250 mm center to center for the outer face, which was earlier 175 for the bottom case. So this is regarding the steel, which has the calculations have been done over here. So reinforcement at the 2 meter below the top. So when you do these calculations, so what you see this, the things has been reduced for 2 meters. The moments are calculated, then the forces are calculated, then again the thickness of the, depending on the thickness of all, net bending moments are calculated, and for the net bending moments the steel has been calculated. So you see it comes out to be 12 bars at the top, at the bars at the center 250 mm, and 12 bars at the ends 140 mm. So the steel has been provided as I have earlier shown. So it is 12 mm bars at the rate 135 and 12 mm bars at the rate 250 mm center to center. Then the design of the hopper bottom. For the design of the hopper bottom is subjected to the meridional tension as well as the bending moment due to the normal pressure acting on it. We have talked earlier on. So it consists of 3 component parts. Let's see. The meridional tension along the slope is due to the weight of the coal above the section, weight of the coal in the hopper bottom below the section, and weight of the hopper below the section, and the weight of the gate also. So first is the 1/4 of the weight of the whole coal in the bunker. So that is, we have designed this bunker for 303 capacity. So this gives me 75750 Newton as the weight of the coal in the bunker, which is going to be supported by the hopper bottom. Then the thickness of the hopper slab is also assumed to be 180 mm with 160 mm with the 20 mm lining. So the hopper bottom slab can also be calculated. When you see the hopper bottom, this has something like this. So it has a diameter of 3 at the top and 0.5 at the bottom. So an average value has been taken. So average value gives me 3 plus 0.5 by 2. This height is 1.25, and when you see this dimension, this is the horizontal dimension, it comes out to be 1.25 by 2. You can look at this figure also. This figure clearly shows. So this is the figure. So this slant height comes out to be 1.25 under root 2. So that has been used over here to calculate the weight of the hopper slab. So 1.25 into under root 2 into the thickness of the wall with the dimensions converted into meters and the unit weight of concrete. So this gives me a weight of 13919 newtons. Similarly, the weight of the gate, 1/4 has been taken. Let's say 1000 Newton is the weight of the gate. So let's say 800 is the weight of the gate. So 1/4 gives me 800. So when you add all these, the total weight which is going to be supported by the hopper bottom is 89869 Newton. Now direct tension is equals to the W cosecant alpha. We have seen earlier on that it was N cosecant alpha. So here weight is equals to 89869, that is cosecant alpha. So alpha is the bottom angle base, which is in this case is 45 degrees. So this gives me a tension of direct tension of 127094 newtons. The steel can be calculated. AST is equals to the force divided by the sigma ST, which is 140 in this permissible stress is 140 in this case. So it gives me a steel of 908 mm square. Using 10 mm bar diameter bars, spacing can be calculated, or number of bars can be calculated. So I have calculated it has 12 number of bars which can be provided on both the faces in the hopper bottom. So you see these bars which are continuous from here. We are going to provide these are the bars, length bars. So in 6 bars in this case, 6 bars on the upper face. So both the faces you have 6 bars of 10 mm diameter. Then the slab is also subjected to a bending moment due to the bending of the slab spanning horizontally between the intersection of the adjoining sloping faces. The horizontal span of the slab will increase from minimum at the opening to the maximum at the junction, while the pressure will decrease from maximum at the opening to minimum at the junction. The horizontal pressure is maximum at the opening, whereas the pressure is minimum at the, not minimum, rather it is less than that the opening. The section of the slab is normally designed at the center of the hopper, where depth of the coal surface is. So the depth of the coal surface is taken up from the top average surface. So this is the depth. So from this depth up to the surface where we are going to find it. So this is the height for which you have to take the section. So this is the depth of the coal surface. The depth of the coal surface is given by 3.25 plus 1.25 by 2 plus 0.875 by 2 approximately. So whatever the height it comes, let it be 4.24 in this case. So but average height has to be taken. the average height of which I have earlier told. So it is from the center of the surcharge to the center of the section where you have taken the surface. So span of the strip is the middle section. This gives me 3 plus 0.5 by 2. 3 is the upper diameter, upper widening, and 0.5 is the lower widening. So this is 1.75. Lateral pressure we have seen, it is WH cos of phi. So PV comes out to be WH plus P sin phi. When you substitute the value of P, that is the lateral pressure, so this gives me WH plus WH sin phi cos phi. So pH is P cos phi, and you can substitute that P, so this gives me WH cos square phi. From these two values, PV and pH, again we can find out the value of Pn. Self weight of the hopper lining is 0.1825,000, so this gives me 45 Newton per meter square. Inclination is 45 degrees. Using this formulation of Pn, that is PV cos square alpha plus pH sin square alpha plus WS cos alpha, substituting the figures, we get this value as 41779 Newton per meter square. So using this we can find out the force, and then hence we can find out the bending moment. So it can be designed for WL square by 12. You can see over here it is WL square by 12. So this gives me a bending moment of 10662 Newton meters. So pull gives me a value of Pn, that is Pn by L by 2, that is the direct tension. So this force comes out to 36,557 Newton. So when we have taken the effective depth as 30, so again using the figure, so the net bending moment can be calculated as per from the center. So this value is 160, and this is 80 plus 80, so 160. So this cover is 30 mm, so this gives me a lever arm of 50 mm. So when you take the moment from this value of direct tension, that is 36557, so this gives me a net bending moment of 10662 minus force into this lever arm. So let's say this is x, so this value is for x. So this gives me a net bending moment of 8834 Newton meter. So checking when you check it for effective depth, that is m is equal to RBD square. So from there we can find out D. The D requirement is 100.5. We have provided as 130 mm. So we are safer in that case. Then steel can be decided for the net bending moment. That is 8834. It is m by m. AST is equals to m by sigma ST JD. So when you substitute the values plus direct steel from the direct stress, so this gives me a total steel of 822 mm square. Using 12 mm dia bars, spacing can be calculated, that is 1000 into the area of 1 bar divided by the total steel. This gives me 137 mm as the spacing required. So we can provide it at a lower rate, and the whole number lesser than 137. So this gives me 12 mm dia bars at the rate 130 mm center to center, and the inner face at the corners. So this steel is provided at the you can say 12 number of bars you see in the figure itself. So these will be provided in the form of you can say as you can see in this dots over here. So it is in the cross section. So all around we will be provided 12 bars at the rate 130 mm center to center. So this spacing between these two bars is 130 mm, and hence the length will be different at each of the section, right? So then the net the reinforcement has to be provided. So this is for the inner face. For the outer face also the steel can be calculated. So at the middle of the span, the bending moment will be half of the value. So half of the value bending moment gives me. So I have the bending moment calculated as 10662. So half of this will be 5331 Newton meters. But pull will be the same. Therefore, the pull is 36557 Newton. When you calculate the net bending moment, that is 5331 minus 36557 into 0.005, that is here it is 50. So 50 mm, okay, that gives me a net bending moment as 3503. So when you decide this steel for that comes out to be 4840 spacing. So when you provide the steel, it comes out to be 230 mm center to center. So these bars can be provided on the outer face at the rate of, so you can see over here, so for the inner face we have decided the steel, we have calculated the steel as 12 mm bars at the rate 130 mm center to center, and for the outer face the steel is 112 mm at the rate 230 mm center to center. Last part of this design of the bunkers is the beams, which is to be designed at the top and the bottom. So both the sections has been taken up. At the top it is provided a square beam with the size of 300 by 300 with 4 bars of 12 dia bars. Similarly, at the junction of the cylinders and the hopper bottom, the section provided is again 400 by 400 with 4 bars of this 12 dia bars at the corners, and the stirrups are provided at the rate 200 mm center to center for both the beams of 6 mm diameters. So with you can see the reinforcement diagram very clearly. So with the help of this we can design we can design the bunkers. So it mainly consists of the walls and the hopper bottom. So with this I close this the design of the bunker. This is the rectangular bunker. Again, a circular bunker can be designed, but in the circular bunker has to be designed, the walls, design of the hopper bottom will remain same, but in the design of the walls it has to be designed for the hoop tension, and the reinforcement has to be provided in the form of the rings. The vertical bars will remain same. It will be the minimum steel, that is 0.3%, which has to be provided for the walls. So okay, thank you B, thank you please.